Picture this. You're watching the World Cup final, on edge waiting to see who's going to win, and suddenly, during halftime, a massive stage rises in the middle of the field. Madonna's singing, Shakira joins in, and then, one blonde-haired guy suddenly has half the world who's never heard of K-pop frantically Googling his name. His name is Jimin, and believe it or not, ARMY. That moment was only the beginning. Once that World Cup stage wrapped up, Jimin's schedule got even crazier, and a lot of people are calling this the busiest stretch of his career since the comeback. In this video, we're breaking down everything Jimin has been doing and is about to do after that World Cup moment, and why this schedule has ARMY around the world on edge. Stick around till the end, because there's one date coming up that American ARMY has been counting down to, and it might just be one of the most emotional moments of the year. Let's get into it. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel, your spot for the latest updates on the K-pop world and our favorite idols. If you're ARMY, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because Jimin's upcoming schedule is packed, and we'll keep you posted. Alright, let's get into the main topic. So here's how it went. On July 19th, 2026, local time, the worlds of soccer and K-pop suddenly collided on the same stage. For the first time in history, FIFA held a halftime show at a World Cup final. That's a huge move, because normally halftime is just for players to rest, hydrate, and listen to coaching instructions. But this time was different. FIFA rolled out an 11-minute mega performance featuring an all-star lineup from Madonna, Shakira, Justin Bieber, and Burna Boy, to conductor Gustavo Dudamel of the New York Philharmonic, right down to the Muppets performing Seven Nation Army. And among all those big names was BTS. The 7-member South Korean boy band performed their iconic hit Dynamite at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, a venue that, outside of World Cup season, is a regular home for massive concerts. It was an especially meaningful moment, since this performance marked BTS's full return to the world entertainment stage after 3 years away completing their mandatory military service. And that's where Jimin stole the spotlight. Dressed in a sporty-style outfit with the number 7 on his back, a number carrying double meaning, both a nod to South Korean footballer Son Heung-min's jersey number and a symbol of BTS's 7 members, Jimin delivered his signature high notes with high-energy choreography, and the moment went viral within minutes. What made it even bigger was that a huge number of viewers who had zero familiarity with BTS suddenly got curious about the blonde singer who stole the show. One of the most iconic moments came from a streamer named N3On. Hearing Jimin's high notes, he was confused for a second and asked if there was a girl in the group. Once he realized it was actually a man named Jimin, he burst out repeatedly shouting his name in disbelief. That's not all. Billboard News host Tetris Kelly also went wild on social media, hyping up Jimin sharing a stage with Madonna. Supermodel Gazelle Oliveira even shared a clip of Jimin's performance on her own social media with a playful, affectionate caption, joking about supporting her husband on that massive stage. iShowSpeed, a streamer with a massive audience, also spotlighted Jimin's appearance during his live broadcast. Just think about it. This wasn't a typical K-pop stage. This was a World Cup final watched by billions of people worldwide, many of whom had no idea who BTS even was beforehand. And within a short span of time, Jimin's name was trending, talked about by people who weren't even K-pop fans. It's real proof of Jimin's personal drawing power, one that clearly transcends music genres and cultural boundaries. This moment also became something of a symbol of BTS's full-scale comeback. If we rewind a bit, 5 BTS members, including Jimin, had only just completed their mandatory military service in mid-2025. So a performance on a stage as massive as a World Cup final wasn't just entertainment. It was a statement that BTS, and Jimin in particular, were truly back at full strength. Here's where things get even more nerve-wracking for ARMY. That World Cup final performance turned out to be nowhere near the peak of Jimin's busy schedule. It was just one small point in a much longer, much more packed lineup. Because before performing at the World Cup, Jimin and the rest of BTS had just wrapped up their world tour Arirang leg in Europe. To be exact, BTS had just closed out the European leg of their world tour with 2 spectacular nights at Stade de France in Paris on July 18th and 19th, 2026. That Paris concert was no small affair either, reportedly drawing hundreds of thousands of fans across the 2 nights. Just imagine, right after an exhausting run of shows in Paris, the BTS members, Jimin included, had to hop on a flight to the United States to perform at the World Cup final only a few days later. When you really think about it, that's an incredibly draining schedule. Straight from a world tour stage to a massive performance at the biggest sporting event on the planet, with barely any time to rest in between. And that's exactly why so many ARMY are simultaneously worried and proud, watching the sheer determination Jimin and the other members show in powering through such a packed schedule. What makes it even more interesting is that this Arirang World Tour itself marks BTS's first full OT7 comeback, meaning all 7 members together since their military hiatus. The tour supports their 6th studio album, also titled Arirang, released in early 2026. The tour is planned on a global scale, running from April 2026 through March 2027, covering major cities across Asia, Europe, and North America. So if we trace it all out, Jimin's schedule throughout mid-2026 looks roughly like this. World tour shows across multiple countries, wrapping up the European leg in Paris, flying straight to America for the World Cup final. And it turns out that's still not the end of it. There's more, just as big, coming up. We'll break it all down in the next segments, because this is exactly what's got American ARMY counting down the days with their hearts racing. Once the World Cup buzz settled down, it was New York's turn to witness Jimin and BTS's next round of activities. As part of their world tour promotion, HYB and Big Hit Music launched a project called BTS The City Arirang, a citywide festival turning New York into a massive celebration space for ARMY. The City project itself isn't new for BTS. They've previously pulled off similar activations in cities like Seoul, Las Vegas, Busan, and London. This time, it's New York's turn, and the scale was deliberately built up big to welcome BTS's concerts in the city. The festival runs from July 24th through August 3rd, 2026, so it's a fairly long stretch, nearly 2 full weeks of New York filled with BTS-themed activations. During that period, ARMY visiting New York can check out several spots called ARMY Madang, communal spaces designed specifically for fans, spread across iconic city locations, including the Korean Cultural Center in New York and even Grand Central Terminal, one of the most famous train stations in the world. Just picture that legendary station temporarily transformed into part of a BTS celebration. On top of that, giant The City banners are placed throughout the city, directing ARMY to special spots for customizing ARMY bomb light sticks, exclusive merchandise, and exhibits of iconic stage outfits from BTS's past concert eras, including outfits from their Wembley shows years ago. A number of long-standing brand partners of BTS are also taking part in the activations, from Samsung Galaxy to various beauty and culinary brands. So during this stretch, don't be surprised if your social media feed is flooded with content from ARMY who flew into New York, hunting for photo spots, chasing merchandise, and getting nostalgic looking at old BTS stage outfits. It's essentially an emotional warm-up before the real main event, BTS's concerts in the city itself. Now, here's the part that's got ARMY the most on edge and the most excited. After the City Festival runs its course, BTS is scheduled to take the stage for 2 massive concert nights at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, specifically on August 1st and 2nd, 2026. This is part of the Arirang World Tour's North American leg. What makes this moment feel even more special is that MetLife Stadium is the exact same venue where the World Cup final was held just days earlier. So Jimin and the rest of BTS will be stepping onto that same stage again, but this time not as an 11-minute guest act. They'll be the main headliners across 2 full nights. MetLife Stadium's capacity is genuinely massive, holding around 82,500 people per night. So across both nights, hundreds of thousands of ARMY are expected to fill that stadium to watch BTS perform live. The shows are scheduled to kick off at 8 p.m., with doors opening earlier around 5:30 p.m., since an event of this scale needs plenty of lead time for attendees, from merch lines to finding seats to soaking in the atmosphere before the show starts. The Arirang tour itself uses a 360-degree center stage concept, so fans from every corner of the stadium can enjoy the show with a solid view no matter where they're seated. That's clearly a major draw for ARMY attending, since regardless of which section they're in, they can still feel close to the stage. These 2 nights at MetLife also carry deeper meaning when you look at the history behind them. This marks one of BTS's first major comebacks in North America since completing their military service. The last time BTS performed together at full strength in that region was during their Permission to Dance tour years earlier. So it's no surprise that ticket demand for these 2 nights has been reported as extremely high, with prices staying elevated even on the resale market due to overwhelming fan demand. Just imagine where Jimin stands at this point. Fresh off a European tour, straight into a globally watched World Cup final performance, taking part in the Citywide Festival in New York, and now having to bring full energy across 2 back-to-back nights in front of hundreds of thousands of fans. It's a schedule that genuinely demands extraordinary stamina, and it's precisely at this point that ARMY's admiration keeps growing, watching Jimin's sheer dedication to giving his all in every performance despite such a grueling schedule. Beyond the packed concert and tour schedule, there's another factor making this period especially significant for Jimin. According to data from a South Korean corporate reputation research institute, Jimin topped the individual brand reputation rankings in the boy group category for the June to July 2026 period. The data was compiled from tens of millions of data points across various media platforms and online communities. Interestingly, the factors driving Jimin's ranking weren't just about his loyal fan base, but also his high level of international activity, including attention from his European concert performances and, of course, his viral moment at the World Cup final. Positive sentiment toward him was recorded at a remarkably high level, reflecting just how enthusiastically the public, both longtime fans and newcomers who discovered him through the World Cup moment, are responding to his presence. So when you put it all together, that World Cup moment wasn't just an 11-minute performance that came and went. It became a gateway for far more people to discover Jimin, and the effects are showing up across multiple fronts, from his personal reputation to international media attention, to growing anticipation ahead of what's still to come. Now let's tie it all together. Why exactly is this stretch of schedule making ARMY around the world so nervous? First, it's about stamina and health. ARMY understands all too well just how packed Jimin's schedule has been in such a short window. From the Paris concerts, to flying to America for the World Cup final, to the citywide festival activities, to now having to deliver full performances across 2 consecutive nights at MetLife Stadium. This is a schedule that demands peak physical and mental condition, and it's completely understandable that many ARMY feel a mix of pride and concern over their idol's well-being. Second, it's about performance expectations. After that viral World Cup moment pulled in millions of new eyes, expectations for Jimin's performance at the MetLife concerts have naturally shot up. Many are curious to see how his energy and performance quality compare between an 11-minute guest slot and a full-length headlining BTS show. Third, it's about a rare kind of togetherness. For ARMY, who spent the last 3 years simply waiting for the day BTS would fully reunite after military service, this packed schedule is real proof that the long wait has finally paid off. Every point on this schedule, the Paris concerts, the World Cup stage, the New York City Festival, and the 2 MetLife nights, forms a chain of long-awaited togetherness moments, and it's understandably stirring up a mix of emotion, pride, and excitement among ARMY. And lastly, it's about what this symbolizes: a full comeback. This packed schedule indirectly symbolizes that BTS, Jimin included, are truly back at full strength after their long hiatus. Not just an ordinary comeback, but one immediately met with massive world-class stages, from a World Cup final to a stadium as big as MetLife. Before we move to the closing, it's worth looking back a bit, so it really sinks in why this jam-packed moment means so much to ARMY. Jimin, along with Jungkook, completed his mandatory military service on June 11, 2025, one day after RM and V finished theirs. For 18 months, Jimin served with the 5th Infantry Division Artillery Brigade of the South Korean Army, far from the spotlight that had been a core part of his life for years. Right after officially completing his service, Jimin greeted journalists and fans who had gathered to welcome him home, thanking ARMY for making the trip out just to see him. That moment was a significant milestone, marking the point where all 5 members who had served could finally reunite as a complete group of 7. After that reunion period, time moved on, and the public began anticipating when BTS would make their official full group comeback. The answer came in early 2026, when they announced their full comeback with a new album titled Erarang, released in March 2026, alongside the announcement of a world tour of the same name, scheduled to run from April 2026 through March 2027. Looking at it from this angle, the packed schedule Jimin is running through right now didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the culmination of a long process that had been building since the start of the year. From the album release, initial promotions, and concerts across various cities in Asia and Europe, all the way to major moments like the World Cup final and the MetLife Stadium concerts we've been discussing. This also explains why the determination shown by Jimin and the rest of BTS feels so strong in their recent performances. After years apart due to their individual military obligations, the moment of performing together again on such a massive scale clearly carries much deeper emotional weight, both for the members themselves and for the army who've been waiting so long. One more thing worth mentioning, beyond the schedule itself, Jimin's evolving look and style lately have also become a hot topic among fans and international media alike. Throughout his run of tour dates and global appearances, from stages across Europe to various international activities, including ones spotlighted by media while he was in Munich, Jimin's visual style has reportedly undergone a noticeably striking evolution, generating plenty of buzz on social media. On top of that, Jimin has long been known for actively partnering with major global brands. One of his most enduring partnerships is his role as global ambassador for a luxury French fashion house, a position he's held since early 2023, continuing through various seasonal campaigns and appearances at major global fashion events. He's also frequently involved in promotional content alongside a global tech brand that's long maintained a partnership with BTS as a group. The combination of music world attention through his tour performances and stage appearances, plus his activity in the fashion and global brand space, means Jimin's name has practically never left the headlines lately. Almost every week brings a new moment involving him, whether it's a concert stage, an international appearance, or a major brand event. This is exactly why many entertainment industry observers are calling mid to late 2026 one of the peak moments of Jimin's personal popularity so far. It's not just about how often he's appearing, but about how far his audience reach now extends, well beyond the traditional K-pop fanbase. So to sum it all up, here's the rundown of Jimin's post-World Cup schedule that's had ARMY on edge. The BTS The City Erarang City Festival in New York, running through early August, serving as both a celebration and a warm-up before the main event. Then the peak, 2 massive concert nights at MetLife Stadium on August 1st and 2nd, 2026, marking BTS's major comeback in North America. And all of this is still just part of the Erarang World Tour, scheduled to continue on to other major cities through early 2027. That means, even after the MetLife moment wraps up, Jimin and BTS's schedule will likely stay just as packed, given how much of the world tour is still ahead. So for ARMY, this on-edge feeling is probably going to keep going for the next few months, as more cities get added to BTS's touring itinerary. And that's a full rundown of Jimin's packed schedule following his headline-making performance at the 2026 World Cup final. From the Paris concerts, to the viral World Cup stage moment, to the New York City Festival, all the way to the upcoming peak at MetLife Stadium. Honestly, looking at the full timeline, this is easily one of the busiest and most historic stretches for Jimin and BTS as a whole since their full comeback. So what do you think, ARMY? Are you one of the ones heading to New York to see it live? Or watching from home glued to your timeline? Counting down with your heart racing? Drop a comment below and let us know which moment from this whole lineup you're most excited for. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share it with fellow ARMY, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates on BTS's world tour. See you in the next video, and stay excited for everything still ahead for Jimin and BTS.